I come out as a Republican, but what I really am is a libertarian who lives in the real world.
Okay.
I'll put it to you this way. I go to the park this morning with my daughter, and I'm pushing her on the swing. And I think to myself, I think government is way too big. This whole Ramaswamy Musk department of, what is it? The Doge Department of Government
Efficiency.
Government efficiency.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But that's the libertarian in me. Hates taxes, hates government. But I do recognize that there are areas I do want the government to be involved.
Okay.
Like, for instance, I know on that playground, there's screws on the playground regulated by the local government that ensure that not just anybody with a screwdriver can come and unscrew that thing. So I have confidence when I'm pushing my daughter on the swing that she's not going to fall off and hit herself in the head and die because somebody messed with that swing.
Right.
Someone's coming out and regulating that from the city to make sure that all the screws are tightened up, that everything's safe for everyone. I like the government being involved in that. Barack Obama did a great series on Netflix where he showcased other areas that the government's involved, and all the libertarians kind of like, I hate government, but I do want you doing that job. I want you in the meat factory, ensuring that we don't have different types of bacteria that the company that is slaughtering the animals couldn't give a damn about, but the government does to prevent widespread outbreak.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to think about E. coli every time I'm looking into the leafy greens department and we're regulating that the animals and the cows are separated from the produce that's being created.
Yeah.
That's the government that does those jobs. So when it comes to health and safety, I have to be a realist, even though I would say there should be no income tax. There certainly wasn't 120 years ago. And I also think that the government is way too inflated. But how big is too big?
Yeah.
I think you know it when you see it, and it's certainly here right now, but I can't define that. So I am a libertarian. I don't like big government, but I also have to live in the real world and recognize that we do need regulations, we do need health and safety, and there are a lot of other roles of government that I would probably come out and say I don't like.
Yeah.
And then when you tell me what those government officials do, I'm kind of like, no, keep that job. Keep that job.
Yeah.
Okay? It's all the rest of the ones. But I will say this. As someone who came in the military, spent 5 years in, seeing firsthand the massive amount of waste in our military, of supplies and personnel, the number one job of the military is to be prepared to go and fight the nation's wars.
Yeah.
Here and abroad. And when I know that only 50% of the people and the equipment that were in the yard that I was working in, of trucks, weapons, all of it, were actually deployable and able to go fight a war, you say, well, what are we doing? Who's validating this?
Yeah.
Who's auditing this? If I got a third of the people in my battalion of 1,000 people that can't even do the battalion run, where we're running at a 15-minute mile pace.
Yeah.
And these are people that we're paying tax dollars to make them deployable. So I see all of this waste that's out there, and I know that my tax dollars go to support that. And that's where, as a libertarian, it drives me absolutely insane when you see it. But then there are a lot of roles that you do see that you find out but they're also doing this. They're also doing that. Okay, well, hey, I'm a libertarian, lives in the real world, and I identify as a Republican. That's where I'm at.